Party Boys. A few weeks ago, a villain that goes by the name Nitrous killed our brand new 4L60E in good old skid mark here. And that 4L60E was lost forever, but did not die in vain, for we have acquired a 4L80E. You can't pick that. Holy, I can't believe you got that. Thing is insanely heavy. What you got there?
Got me a little 4L80.
I see. Tell you what, brother, we'll see what that Nitrous ain't got shit on that trans. No sir.
Now this thing is
you got the yoke.
It's over there.
Like you guys just need to see how much bigger everything really is. Like, it is insanity. So the trans is every bit of, oh, you can see the bed squat. Wow. The trans is every bit of what, 2.5 times heavier?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, one definitely.
Right. So
look at that thing. What the hell?
My drive shaft guy, which, hang on, that thing was heavy. Big shout out to Matt at Fleet Prod and Roanoke. He's hooking us up. We're making a custom drive shaft for this thing. I know that I've seen some comments. You cannot pull a drive shaft out of a 3/4 ton truck and expect it to work. You have to have some sort of custom drive shaft made. But we got the biggest and thickest yoke that we could, and we have full coverage over that shaft.
My goodness.
So what you do when you put it in there, you're gonna pull it back
3/4 of an inch.
about 3/4 of an inch, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, and then that's where you want to measure. That way you have some like
back and forth
movement.
Yeah.
So
to put this in perspective, your average yoke only usually slips on about right there.
And ours goes all the way.
We have the whole kit and caboodle. Let me tell you something. We are not gonna blow this one up. No way, no how.
We have had some awesome guys that have been doing this for a long time help us out with this.
Like, gigantic shout out to Rob over at Norm's Garage, Norm's Transmissions. He has done the work on the Cateye. He has done the work on the Burnout truck. He is the one that built. I mean, when we went to him after we destroyed the 60 and told him what we done, he, I mean, didn't beat around the bush or nothing. He didn't lie. Forget it. We're not wasting money on a 60. We're doing an 80. You know, and bam, wham, we made it happen. You know, and he made it happen for us. And it's, you know, I'm extremely excited to have this transmission in here. And this is what we need to do what we want to do and last. So there is our 4L80. And what we have to do is we got to get the tail shaft on it, because this one actually come out of a four-wheel drive, so we had to get a different tail shaft so we can convert it. Just for those of you that don't know, and here's a 80 core, this is what your tail shaft looks like on a four-wheel drive. And the spline, that would be way shorter. It'd be like about right here. So because it's a two-wheel drive, had to do a little bit of change the tail shaft. So we got to get that put on, and once we get that put on,
a couple sensors,
a couple actually, not too much. Not too much I got to put on, and then we can take it under the truck and start putting it in. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty guys, so we are doing the very painfully slow part of filling the converter up with trans fluid. Make sure you do this, because the last thing you want is this thing to be in there spinning around dry while the pump's trying to throw a bunch of fluid at it. So I got about a quart in it now. I'm gonna go for at least 2 quarts in it. Might be able to get 3 in it, we'll see. But this is the slow, painful part. Austin, how's the tail shaft coming? Did you get that thing in there?
Tail shaft's on.
Oh, I see. Nice, just getting the brackets. Got brand new sensors in the side of that thing. So once I get this thing filled up and he gets his bracketry together, we can go ahead and take her down under the truck. Alrighty guys, so we were not able to film because it took both of everything we had to get the 80 in here. And yes, we're using a regular floor jack. We didn't end up scooping the trans jack in time.
I was too cheap.
Well, that's
you can blame it on me.
Well, I didn't blame it on you, but you blamed it on yourself. But the 80 is now in here. He is putting the bell housing bolts in. What I'm going to do now is go out and get the tubular crossmember that I have sitting over here. Now see what you're going to see here, and why the reason we needed that crossmember. You see where the bracket is here? If you come to where the bracket is, basically that's where the tail shaft of a 60 would be, but it's actually the pan on an 80.
So now the tail shaft's all the way back here. So what the crossmember does is it still runs all the way across, but it's got the whole tubular part that comes out to bolt that to, and then goes back down into the actual support part. And that's what's going to support the tail housing, the back part of the trans and engine and all that other stuff. Because it all acts, I mean, all these crossmembers are necessary to keep the engine and the trans at the desired angle from the factory. So let me get out and get that crossmember, and I'll put it up in here. All right, so here is the crossmember, and what you're going to see here is once I slide the crossmember up in the brackets, you see we end up with the bracket right there up in the, it's kind of hard to do with the camera in your hand and the crossmember in my hand, but that is eventually, once I get the bolts up in there, that part will slide where you can put the nut on it, and we'll have the actual crossmember part over where it belongs. So let me put the camera down and try to get this in here. Alrighty, so there is your crossmember in. So you see there, lines up good. And see, you know, like I said, the original crossmember, you would need your tail shaft would be up here for a 2-wheel drive. Of course, it's a little different on a 4-wheel drive because you've got the transfer case. But on a 2-wheel drive, you definitely need the crossmember relocation here for the tail shaft. And that's what that does. So I'm going to get the 4 bolts in on that. And once we do that, we're going to go through and hook up sensors. You know, in the last video, we wired up the secondary speed sensor. We're going to hook sensors up. We're going to hook trans lines up. And that is, I mean, then it's in. And then it's kind of waiting for a drive shaft thing. So I'll pick back up the camera here in just a minute. Alrighty, guys. So it's getting late. And the trans is in. The lines are hooked. The converter is bolted. Bell housing bolts. I mean, what we measured for the drive shaft, and we're hoping to have that in 2 days.
Yeah, so we're hoping to have the drive shaft by Friday. He said he could get it turned around in a day, so we'll see what he does. I guess the only thing left is the inspection plate, drive shaft, and then take it to go get tuned, and we'll be ready to rip it.
Yeah, so I mean that's going to be the holdup on the rip, is getting it tuned, and it's more than just getting it tuned to accept the 80. They actually want to keep it and tune the trans while they have it, which will help us out in the long run. And also, you know, some special programming we want for burnouts and stuff like that, I want to have them do. So that is where we're at on it. That's part 1 of 4L80 installation. Well, I mean, really, that's the majority of it. I mean, that's just what it takes. I mean, in the next video, we'll hook the rest of the wiring up. We'll put the drive shaft in, and they'll be ready to rock and roll, go on a trailer, and get tuned. So that is going to be it for tonight's video. I appreciate you guys watching. You got anything to add?
For everybody that says the 4L80 swap is easy, yes, it's easy, but it is. There's so many parts that you have to get for it. It's straightforward. It is easy in terms of putting it in and everything, but you know, the custom drive shaft, you gotta get a different torque converter. It's mainly just expensive, and for the average everyday Joe to go out here and do this, it's gonna be hard on them. So maybe next time you say just put a 4L80 in it, chill out a little bit. It's
those comments have chilled, but then I've got the comments of people saying, you know, well, y'all are just idiots. It's really easy.
It is. I mean, you're not wrong. It is easy.
It's easy because you swap a trans, but I think the point I was trying to make was you can't just go. People make it sound like you could just go grab an 80 out of a junkyard, pull your 60 out, and plop the 80 in. And that is so far from the truth. I mean, when you sit back and look at it, everything has to change. So many parts have to be bought and stuff like that. That's what I'm getting at, is it's not just as simple as finding an 80 and throwing it in where a 60 once was. Yeah, and people seem to have taken some offense to the comment of it was hard, and some people say that it's easy, and
I mean, it's even down to the dipstick tube has to be changed out on it. Like, there's just so many small things that you would never even think of that you have to change. And, you know, those are the parts that add up. You know, the trans itself is expensive, but all the small stuff does not help at all.
But I'm glad we made these videos, and so you can see what all it takes. And, you know, you're going to have the people that they could say the whole burnout truck conversion was easy, or skid marks conversion was easy, and I guess that's their own opinion. We'll just let it roll. But I mean, nobody can say we haven't gone full tilt.
No.
I mean, from a front end conversion to a 4.8 to 5.3,
an 80, the rear end swap.
Yep.
We have changed everything, headlight to tail light on this thing.
I'm pretty sure there is not a bolt that has not been turned on this truck.
Oh, that's like everything has been altered. It's absolutely nuts.
But you guys love seeing that, and we love the enthusiasm, and you know that helps us keep going because y'all are pushing us to build bigger, better, faster stuff. Like the Cateye build, I can't wait for that. I mean, we're gonna have some crazy stuff coming out on the Cateye. It's been sitting here torn down, just staring at us for months, waiting for us to put it back together. So
yeah,
we'll be starting on those videos very, very soon. We actually got some more parts in the mail today.
The rest of the back ordered main bearings came in, so it's on like Donkey Kong now. Now that skid's done. I mean, once we go drop it off to have the thing tuned, skid's done. We can just have fun with it from that point on. So enough rambling on. I appreciate you guys watching. Drop any comments you got down below. Don't forget to follow me over on Instagram at Austin04_Z71. Take care. Have a great day.